Hey everyone, my name is Jenny Mann. I am a solution architect and developer advocate. Today, I'm going to show you a couple of ways to replicate data and track data changes in Postgres using a free real-time ETL tool. Postgres is a super popular enterprise open source relational database today. It supports both relational and non-relational querying, SQL and JSON. If you're using it, it's likely part of your data pipeline. With the methods I show you today, you can create a data pipeline with Postgres in it really easily. In the first part of this video, I'm going to be showing you how to replicate data from Postgres as the source to a destination which will receive the data in real time. And I'll use Google Sheet as the destination just for the sake of demoing. In the second part of this video, I'm going to show you how sometimes you may not want your destination to be a direct replica of your source data, but you may want to capture every change event, for example, insert versus update versus delete. If you may want to have a record in your destination for every change in your source data. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Let's begin. The tool we'll be using today is called Flow, which you can sign up for free here. Today we're going to go over the few steps to prepare your Postgres database ready for Flow to capture data from. You can also follow along with our docs on our website. I'll be demoing with a Postgres database on Google Cloud, but the steps are really similar if your Postgres database is hosted elsewhere. In fact, some of these prerequisite steps here, like creating a watermarks table, creating a flow capture user, are common if you are doing this in other relational databases. And these are really simple to set up because we already have the scripts prepared for you. So let's go to the Google Cloud section of the doc, as that's where our Postgres database in this demo is hosted. I'm going to show my GCP Postgres screen and Asteroid docs side by side for now so that we can follow along with the steps. Step 1 is to enable public IP on your database. You want to make sure this checkbox here is checked. And you want to add the Flow IP address from our docs to your Postgres database as an authorized IP address at network. Remember to hit save. Step 2, navigate to the overview page, click Edit Configuration, scroll down to the Flags section, click Add Flag, search for Cloud SQL Logical Decoding, and then turn the flag on. This enables logical replication on your Cloud SQL PostgreSQL instance. Step 3, you want to connect to your instance and run the SQL script. We're going to do it on pgadmin here, which is the Postgres GUI, but you can also run it from your terminal. Basically, the script creates the necessary user and permissions, privileges, and creates the watermarks table. So we'll just copy and paste the script and run it. Finally, you want to go back to your Cloud Console because we'll need the public IP address of your Postgres instance. So we'll leave it up here while we fill out the endpoint config in Asteroid Flow. So let's log into Flow. In Flow, let's go to the Captures page, click New Capture, pick the Postgres connector, give it a name. For server address, we will take the address from GCP here. Notice you also need the port number, which you can see in our documentation that the port number by default is 5432. User is already filled out for you. The password is in your SQL script here. So let's fill that out. And that should be all the required fields. Let's hit next. When you hit next, Flow runs a discovery process to discover collections in your database. If you don't have any data, any table in your source database, then you will not have collection here. So you will need that to be able to capture to collection and materialize to a target. Let's add a table to our source database. Now let's refresh to see our table added to the collection here. Now let's hit test to make sure our capture is successful. It's a success, so let's save and publish. Now in your list of captures, you should see a green light next to your capture name, indicating it's in good health, and we'll start capturing data for you. Now, just a little troubleshooting tip here. If you receive a connection failure error in Flow when you're setting up your capture, it's likely that your connection string is incorrect. My recommendation is to try connecting from a terminal separately to make sure your connection info is correct, and then use that connection string in Flow. And before you do that, you have to make sure your cloud database can be accessed from your machine. What you can do is find out what your public IP is by going to what is my IP, copy this down, and then add your IP here on GCP. After that, you can test by running this command in your terminal. When it prompts you for a password, that means you've made a connection. Let's have a quick break. Have you ever had a feeling that ads are reading your mind? It's because advertisers are constantly invading your cyberspace, looking through your internet history and getting hold of your most intimate data. Now you can get your privacy back with Surfshark VPN. It blocks invasive targeted ads and shields you from web trackers that gather your data. Additionally, it protects you from viruses, keeping you safe and prevents your identity from getting stolen. But in my opinion, the best benefit is you can connect to other countries' networks to watch shows that you wouldn't otherwise have access to. You can also sign up for Netflix in a country with lower subscription fees, and that easily makes Surfshark pay for itself. For work, I actually had to use VPN once to overcome some restrictions in order to complete a work project. And regardless of how many devices you have, you just need one account to give all those devices access. And Surfshark is one of the cheapest out there. It's running a limited time promotion right now. If you use the link in the description box below, you'll receive an exclusive discount plus your first couple months free. And there's a money back guarantee if you're not happy for any reason. So give it a try, and now let's get back to our learning. In this demo, we want to show you how to use Flow to set up a Postgres capture and then materialize the data to a Google Sheet destination. So we'll just go to the captures page, hit new capture, and then select our Postgres connector, and just give the capture a name and fill out the connection info of our source database. Now we can make the destination data identical to the source, but we understand that sometimes you want to capture every change event and be able to distinguish between an insert versus an update versus a delete. So in this video, we'll be showing how you would do that for this specific use case where you want the target data to show every change event. When you fill out everything here, hit next. This is when Flow runs the discovery process to discover the collections in your source database. Now, by default, the collection will key off of the primary key of your source table, but since we want to capture every change event, in this case, we don't want to reduce the destination data down to the latest record per primary key. Instead, we will use the collection specification here to tell Flow to key off of a separate set of values to use as the key in the destination table. And this section at the bottom here is where you want to do that. So we'll replace the employee ID under key, and we'll use the location data in the metadata and the operation enum from the metadata, which tells us the type of change event this is. So C is create or insert, U is for update, and D is for delete. That way, in the destination, it'll be really clear for each record what type of change event that is, as well as the source data associated with it. Now, because the key needs to be a required field, we will add log to required here. And then just one final simple change is we will add the original primary key to the resource config down here so that it won't be undocumented and create issues. So we'll just add the primary key right here. And that should be it. So let's hit test. And once it's successful, we'll save and publish. Okay, so our capture is now done. So we're going to materialize the collections, and we'll pick Google Sheet. I already have a materialization here we can use, and we'll pick the collection that we just edited. Postgres demo employee. And that should be it. So we don't need to change anything else. We'll hit next, test. And it's successful, so we'll just save and publish our materialization. Now let's check that both our capture and materialization are up and running. So you see the green light showing that the capture is up and running. The materialization, let's enable it. Normally it would be enabled by default, but since I have previously used this materialization, so I had disabled it. So now we're just gonna enable it really quickly. Now that's done, and now I'm going to show my database query screen and our destination Google Sheet together side by side so that you can see what kind of updates are happening as we do an insert, an update, and a delete in our source database. So right now it has one record in both the source and the target. Now we're going to run an insert statement. As you can see on the right, immediately a new record gets added to the destination database with a C, which means it's a create or insert. Now the update, a U, and then finally the delete. And you'll see pretty much real time on the right, you see a new record added when each of those actions takes place in the source database. So there you go. Let us know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to this channel for upcoming content on how to start or build a career in tech, how to automate using low-code RPA, how to build real-time low-code data pipelines, and other tech content.